Long distance relationships, fellas. Are you at a point where you will relocate for love? Long distance relationships. Are you at a
Hmm.
point where you will relocate for love? Very interesting.
Uh,
Nah, I do have a question about this,
Yeah.
okay.
so I can so for some clarity. So for me in particular,
Hmm.
so when you say relocate for love, what
Mhm.
what 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 are we talking about as far as love? Like relocating for the romanticized version of love that we know to be from society, or the
Mhm.
true essence of love and what we know it to be as grown adults that we should
Very
know it
good.
to be as like which one we doing here?
Very good question, my brother. I'm talking about the
Mm-hmm.
essence. Like this is your person. Y'all been
Uh,
apart long enough, and
mm-hmm.
There's two
you
different
ready to make
versions.
that and you ready to make that leap.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So would y'all do it? Would y'all do it? What would it take? What would it take?
JB, you go
I
ahead
didn't
and
know
start
there
off.
was two different versions. I didn't know that.
Well, how we live in society. There's a one version of love where everybody say, you gotta it's Bill it's a romance, flowers, and Walt Disney, and then it's actual love.
Go ahead, busy.
So
Get us started, man.
man, I always start anyway. All right. So look,
Yeah,
What he
I'm
do?
fixing something. My bad.
Yeah, he looked like he was busy.
mhm. Nah, but no, for real. So it's a lot to unpack with this.
Yeah.
Okay, because honestly, if we are talking about we are at an age where we should be should I'm just seeing the world as it should be, right? Just we should be at an age where we have a little bit more intentional value about us, and that we are doing what we say we're gonna do when we say we're gonna do it. We know what we're doing. We should be a little bit more conscious for like forethought about what it is that we do with our lives, right?
Hmm.
As adults, as men and women, adult people. And me personally, or my point of view, I would say, my humble observation of this is that it has to be for me, and hopefully everyone feel me on this. If not, hey, I'll just be on the ledge on my own. I don't have a problem with anybody relocating for love. However, it comes with a caveat to me. It's a fuller answer than just yes or no. It's a yes, but there's two components that I think that need to be tested and proven before you do a move like that, which is commitment and consistency. Those two things, if those two things are missing from your partner that's long distance, then you need to stay where you at until you know for sure that you have those two things along with not just the feeling of love. If you are at a place in your life where you can fly somewhere, see somebody, see your partner, and then fly back, y'all live in different places and y'all exchange that kind of stuff. Some people have relationships like that. That's not a majority of the time, but there are some people that have relationships like that where they travel to see each other and they are building with each other because they have that type of value. They see that type of value in each other. The value system plays a huge part in something like this because, first of all, that is a huge step to take to relocate where someone is and you don't have any commitment, any consistency. You're not engaged. You're not any of that kind of stuff. That is going to be a very, very difficult move to make. You're going to be in a place with somebody where you don't have your family, you don't have your friends, you don't have all the things that make you who you are at home. You building something brand new with someone else. Before you take a leap and do that, there are a lot of things you have to value and actually unpack before you just do that. All right. The worst thing to do is to relocate, go all the way over there. And then you get all the way over there. You ain't got no type of consistency. You ain't got no type of commitment. You go all the way over there, and you ain't got shit going on that's good. You go all the way over there, and you ain't got nothing popping on. You go all the way over there. You know what I'm
You go
saying?
all the way over there.
You
All
go
the way.
all the way over there
Uh,
because I'm gonna tell you something. Let me be real. Let's just be real for a second. You got you. Some people be having bad relationships in their own city.
Mm-hmm.
You can't even get it good in your
Facts.
own city, let alone all the way over there, right?
Facts.
So, there's a lot. There's a thinking process before you do that. Going off of the feeling of love that we deem just the feeling of it is a. I don't think that's what that is. You need other additives. You need other things with that, not just the feeling. I know how you feel. That's great, boo boo. You need some other stuff. You need some legs on your faith. You need some legs on your love. Commitment, consistency, forethought, like actual thing. That's those are the things you should value before you start doing it. You want to relocate? That's your life. Do your thing. I'm not even. That's do your thing, but it comes with a caveat. You gotta have some things that goes along with that. And guarantee, I wouldn't if you're not talking about marrying a person. If y'all ain't if you ain't talking about marrying a person for real and having a life together that y'all want to do on your own, and y'all don't on that level talking like that, relocation shouldn't even be a talking point or an idea yet because
I need a
because
woman.
because
Need a woman to say that part.
yeah. Right. All of that,
That
right?
part.
Yeah, because that part, this part right here that we talking about.
That part.
That
That part.
yeah,
Yep.
y'all not talking about being married and like I mean building your life for real because let's be honest. We don't want to be alone as we get older and we could talk again, we could talk all that big boy, big girl talk all we want. When you getting older, you do not want to be by yourself. You don't. You don't want to be by yourself. It is it is what it is. But let's be honest here. Going, relocating to just be someone's girlfriend or boyfriend, no. No, I'm no. Uh-uh. That is not enough. I can't. There is no security in that. There is no security in that. See, there's a lot to unpack with this because being consistent means that this person has committed to the idea of disciplining themselves enough to have this relationship with you where they see something with you and you see something with them. It's an even exchange of what we got going on. It's not one person doing more work than the other. It's not, oh, I'm gonna relocate because he just do everything for me. See, that's one sided. That's one sided because if something happens, freak accident or change his mind or whatever the case may be, he can't provide certain things for you. You went over there for the thing. You went all the way over there for some things. I mean, you went all the way over there. I mean, you couldn't get what you wanted right here. You had to go all the way over there. Come on now. I'm just saying. So let's be clear. Let's be clear. Relocation. When I look at this question, it's relocation is not the is the issue for me. It's the love part
Mm-hmm.
because we have all
Yeah.
type of
I
interpretations
gotta
of
feel that.
love. We have all the type of interpretations for love, and then we want to slap relocation on it. Be like, you see what I did for love? No, you should have stayed where you was at because no talks about marriage, no talks about engagement. You haven't even met person's parents yet. All kind of stuff you need to do before you go all the way over there. You see what I'm saying? So doing it is
Facts,
cool,
man.
but there is a caveat to it. There is more to the answer than yes or no because this is a very gray area. Because again, this is like majority of the people find love in their own cities for the most part or within their own vicinity within their own parameters, you know what I'm saying? There are a lot of cases where people meet online, people get married and all that kind of stuff over the apps, people get blind dates, whatever the case may be, and be like, oh man, this person was in town, had a blind date, we hit it off, but they live in Albuquerque and you live in Denver or you live in Seattle and they live in San Diego. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you got all that kind of stuff. And if you are the type of person that's open-minded enough to be like, hey, I don't mind relocating, blah, 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 whatever, it got to be for more than just the feeling of love. Like, oh, I get butterflies every time I see him. That don't mean ding, 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 I need to relocate. No, that's not what that means. That is, no, it's got to be more to it than that. And it has to be a very intentional thought process and an intentional process with your action to do that. because people ain't got time to play, man. We are over 40 people. Most of our audience are between the ages of 25 and 50 something. We ain't got time to be moving all your life and stuff from where you are to go all the way over there, and you don't have a clue what's going on with you. You don't have a clue what's going on. You don't know what type of jobs are there. No, you got to do a lot of digging and studying before you just start doing stuff. And I'm just saying, I don't recommend doing it just for the feeling, just for the, oh my God, he put the rose petals lead to the bathroom the last time he was here in town. Like, I don't care if he had dandelions in the motherfucker. Do not go all the way over there. If you know that you have not done all these things that I'm talking about before you did that, because that there is different. And then if anything were
Yeah.
to happen, see,
Yeah.
you know what our future topic is, so we about to we deep diving now. Because if
Yeah.
anything were to
Yeah.
happen, and you all the way over there, and you have no other support outside of that person that you trusted, then you're going to start regretting your decision and start blaming other things instead of your impulsiveness. Just be careful with it. I'll start right there with that.
Yeah, very good points. Like, yeah, way to dive deep on that one, because yeah, obviously, I do think it's more than just a yes or no, and hopefully, um, just to sum up kind of what you said, man, you got hopefully that first of all the foundation is strong enough, and then secondly, the purpose is strong. You know what I
Mm,
mean? Not just the feeling, but the purpose is strong. You know what I mean? Is
good point.
that's what it's about. That's what
Good
it's
point
about.
about the purpose.
Cause
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah. So from my angle, and what made us come up, what made us make this as a topic for today's show is I was
That's it,
recently having a
man.
conversation with an old friend of mine from high school. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's kind of I'm gonna keep it a bean. Is maybe the one that got away. You know what I mean? It was maybe the one that got away. But we still, you know,
Uh,
we still close. We still close to this day. She lives in Vegas, and we were actually just having conversations about the past and the present, and we we started getting into a little bit of the what ifs. You know what I mean? So we started talking about what would happen if we were together now. What would be the case? And that was the first time I ever thought like if this was right, if this was correct, if me and her were more in sync up to this point. We've always, like I said, we've always been cool, but you know, time and distance, you lose touch with people. But we were actually
mhm,
having a conversation, and like I was really in my mind thinking, like, if this was right, if this was what it's supposed to be, and if I felt strongly enough, and we were building something that was really strong, I would consider moving. But it was the first time in my life I ever thought about doing that. And I think, like what Tay said, it has a lot to do with where we at in our life, our age, our experiences. So it was crazy because that was the first time I ever actually thought about it with anybody. You know what I mean? So it's like I do think you get to a point where you'll if you're looking for love and you want to find it and you found it and it's out of your comfort zone, it's unfamiliar. Are you willing to make that jump and do it? So to answer the question, yes. And just to go along with what Tay said, man, make sure it's purposeful. You know what I mean? Make sure it's purposeful. I feel that. Where you at with it, Jay?
mm,
Yeah, I think that yeah, I agree with both of y'all actually. I do I want to say this though, like I want to go back to something Tay said, and somebody mentioned that in the comments, man, about vetting.
Hmm.
And like you have to do a great process of vetting, especially if you want to relocate. All because of the factors we'll tell you already. I'm just gonna echo that, just for the fact that you just uprooting your habitation for the sake of a thought of someone else, because that's basically what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's very trivial, even to say. I mean, your feelings can take you wherever, but the vetting process and all of that has to be very distinct. It really have to be like you have to really do the work. Like, and we're talking about logical work too. Like, and we're not just talking about. That's why he went around how you feel. It has to be a logical. It has to fit. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all have to fit as far as this. You got to go visit. You have to whatever you got to do. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to see if that's going to work. It will take time to see that. You know what I'm saying? Like it'll take a moment. You should give it a moment. You know what I'm saying? Like you give somebody a moment here. You know what I'm saying? I mean, just visitations, the thought process of it, seeing if that's a good thing to do. You know, I personally am agreeing with Tay about the timeline of it. This should be around marriage. Like it should be around there. It should be, at the doorstep. You know what I'm saying? Because that's because that lets that will let you know and the person itself know that y'all been this far in trial and tribulation and an exercise enough for you to take this step. You know what I'm saying? Now the problem is, and I can attest to this because I did this before, not to relocate, but you know what I'm saying. I can attest to the fact that sometimes what we might call love, we're defining it wrong, and then we think that that's the reasoning behind why we should do those type of things. We define it wrong. You know what I'm saying? We're stating that you really have to deep dive. That's why I'm saying the vetting is not only the process of trying to get to know that person, but it's the process of seeing that you fit with them. That means you have to analyze yourself too in the scenario. You know what I'm saying? Like when some people make relationships, and you gotta feel me on this. Some people make relationships not just based on love; they just define it that way. They define their economic stance based on, and they call that love because y'all doing that thing. Because you're lonely and desperate, then you all of a sudden you start, being with somebody. Then you're used to this person, so you take extra steps with them because you're used to something. See, they define that as love. You know what I'm saying? Like those are not. Those are not valued enough to relocate your whole habitat for. You're defining that wrong. You know what I'm saying? So you really got to analyze, are you defining this right? You know what I'm saying? Like, is it real true love? Like he said, you know what I'm saying? I'm glad that I was making fun of him, stating what the real true value of love is, the definition of it versus because that's what it is. It's you know what I'm saying? We have to really define it being that.
Yeah.
Because that's a two-way street in the whole bit. You know what I'm saying? Therefore, sacrifice is going somewhere to value. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's a sacrifice. To relocate yourself, that's a sacrifice.
It's scary. It's extremely scary. It's extremely.
Bruh.
It's like it's just one of those indescribable feelings, man. Like when you know what I mean. It's just something you don't really know how you're going to respond to it until you make that decision, man. Like I mean, obviously, hopefully, before you're about to do it, you've thought through it. But when that time come, man. Like just me thinking about the fact that yes, I will consider it now. That scared the hell out of me. Like damn, bro. Like you know what I'm saying? Because I never even had those thoughts. No, I'm not moving. We're gonna have if you out there, I'm just not doing the long distance. But it's like to get into a space where you want to do it. That's scary in itself, man. So I feel that.
Yeah, I'm reminded of. Oh, my bad, Jay. Go ahead.
No. I was just going to say you got to test it, man. You have to test it. You got to test it. Not just because you think it don't mean it's the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you think it does not mean it's the right thing. So it has to be tested. You know what I'm saying? It got to be tested from the other person that you're trying to be with, from other people that love you, from you know what I'm saying? Like you gotta really, you know what I'm saying, really test that out. Because if somebody that loves you will tell you that makes sense or not. They will tell you. You know what I'm saying? If you valued somebody and valued them and loved them and they know you in your situation and you value their opinion, run it past them and see what they think. Because they ain't gonna tell you wrong.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like that's just I'm talking about that good friend or that good family member. Yeah. Good brother, sister. You know what I'm saying? Run it past them. It gotta be tested because just because we think it don't mean it's a good thing. We could be caught up in emotion.
Does that make
we can do that? No matter how smart we are, we can do that. We can get caught up in emotion. You can be the most intelligent, degrees all over the case. You know what I'm saying? Been through experience of this before, and still make a bad decision about a chick or a woman.
Hey Jay, I was about to ask you. Does that make the decision hard, like easier, or a little tougher once you get that opinion from your loved one?
It doesn't matter either way because you could be fighting your emotions and they telling you the truth.
Mm-hmm.
That'll make it harder. Because you got to fight your emotions. Now you got to sit in the mirror and be like, Well, I do feel this way about this person, but the people that around me think am I tripping? Am I tripping? Or you could just go into this dark hole and be like, I'm right.
Yeah.
I
Go ahead,
don't
tell
care
you
what
had a,
y'all say. You know what I'm saying? Like
that's
it
real.
has to be tested. That's all I'm saying. It gotta be tested. If you
No,
think everything you
that's
think
a hundred.
ain't 100, you know what I'm saying? It has to be.
Yeah, that's real. Tell you had a point. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, excellent points, though. And I'm just reminded of 4 questions that we talked about on this show, uh, season 2, I believe, and or maybe this season. But the 4 questions are: is this an important relationship in my life? Do I value this person, and do they value me?
Mm-hmm.
Am I willing to take 100% responsibility for the state of the relationship? Am I willing to do the work to heal it no matter what the other person does? If you
Mm,
cannot answer any one of those 4 questions, don't move.
I
facts.
don't know, cuz. I don't know
Don't
about that
even,
number
don't
three.
even, don't look. Number 3 is the crazy one, right?
Number three is a
100%
banger,
responsibility for the
dog.
state, the arguing, the back and forth. Are you willing to take 100% of the responsibility on your part? Stop looking at what the other person is doing all the time. And are you willing to heal it
And a
no
little heavy.
matter what the other person does? That you can see, you can the way you could tell if a person value you, you could tell that by behavior. You could tell that by the way they act, their actions towards you. Are you a forethought, afterthought, or are you just a piece of stored up thought in the back of their mind and be like, oh, let me. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, every time you talk to them, they're like, oh, I didn't know that offended you. Oh, I didn't know that was. Oh, I didn't know that was. Oh, I. They so used to being reckless. You come with some structure. They don't know how to handle your structure
Mm,
Ah,
because
ah.
because because here it is.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
you gotta see if it fits, if it's a right,
Yeah.
if it's fitly joined together, and it's a good compatibility. Because I'm telling you, those questions right there, I think are that was those questions came from Yalla Van Zant. Those questions right there are very very important, and if you cannot answer those questions honestly and wholeheartedly, then I wouldn't recommend a person moving. You know what I'm saying, or
right.
relocating, no matter because it could be a lot of people are out. I'm glad we having this topic because a lot of people that may be listening to this show, and they could be listening to us on YouTube or right now, you know what I'm saying, or they could be listening to us on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and the Maleroom Show podcast.
Nice. Very nice, my guy.
Yeah, they
Very
could.
nice.
Yeah, they could be.
Very
They could
good.
be. We have a
Great.
multiplicity of
Very
listeners.
great.
And all I'm
Great.
saying is, no matter what ways you're listening to us to, do not move if you cannot answer those questions. I like the word "tested" by JB. JB said you got to test it. Test the relationship. That the relationship got to go through some testing. A relationship that can't be tested can't be
Yeah.
trusted.
Mm,
Yeah.
So if that relationship can't stand the ebbs and flows of time and together, if something happens and it becomes an against each other instead of against it situation, then you know to slow down a little bit. Slow down. Let me think about this. Let me reevaluate it. Let me see, because it could just be a moment. I don't want to be a prisoner of the moment, so let me give him some grace. Let me give myself some grace. I don't want to be a prisoner of the moment. This is how I feel right now, so I'm gonna cling and clinch to it. No, no. Let me chill. Let me see if this occurs again. Let me look at patterns here. And if the patterns are all over the place and they real spiky and they go up and downy like that, you might, hey, you might want to
It's a
think.
big deal,
one more
man.
thought. One more thought.
I'm gonna give you two
Yeah.
examples, dog. Down to earth examples, real quick, of how that is. You know what I'm saying? The relocate is a big deal. It is. It's like you got to learn a whole new structure of a state. If we're
Yeah.
talking about state to state, you know what I'm saying?
Laws,
That's not even talking
everything.
about country. I don't even want to talk about country.
No,
You know what I'm
no,
saying? It's damn near bad enough
no.
for city, but state,
Right.
that's you know what I'm saying. So
Scary as hell.
as example
Yeah.
is that is if the person that's in the different location is rushing the idea,
Woo-hoo! Boy,
you might want to think about
It's
that.
not a good idea. Yeah, you might want to really
It's
rethink
not
that.
a good idea if they're rushing the idea.
Yeah.
Like, well, you know what I'm saying? What have you made your decision yet? That type of thing. And that means they're not in it for you. They're in it for it. That's the testing, and that is the, you know what I mean. You really got to look at it. I'll give you another example. If the person that is relocated is saying it keep telling you stories of the what if you were here, and they're just riding on that fantasized idea of y'all just being together without talking about the logistics of how y'all would do that.
Yeah.
You might want to think about that too.
Yeah.
That person might be just in fantasy land about the scenario. They ain't even thinking about the real habitual habitat that y'all might both be in. They ain't even thinking about
Right.
it.
Hence putting you, hence,
You know what I'm saying?
indirectly putting you in a fantasy land.
Are you telling me that there's a reality of love? There's a reality side to love. Are you saying that to me?
You started it. You defined it. So that's what it is.
What?
Because we could be in our head with it.
Really?
But then it can really exist. See, that's two different things.
Yeah, man.
That's two different. Because if it's in our head, we're defining it the way it is. But if it really exists, that means it's compatible with everybody else says about what it is. See, that's you won't be in an argument about who you in love with if the love was really what it does.
Right. Exactly.
If you're defending your mate, you probably don't love him like you think you do. So it's like
they didn't mean that they had a bad day. They had it was a long night. They didn't mean to cuff the entire room out. But they did it last time. Again, bad day. They're frustrated with their job. I don't care. You don't know how to treat people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?